All right, seventh graders, we're going to go through something new today, and it's about interest. Now, the big thing you really need to know about this is that all we're really doing is just multiplying. Today, for interest, the big thing you need to know is that we're just going to be doing some multiplying, and then tomorrow you're going to see some problems where you're going to have to multiply and then divide. So the overall math here isn't going to be too bad. This is called simple interest. Now your learning target here is that you are going to be able to, or I can, calculate the simple interest in a problem. That's pretty simple, right? I can calculate the simple interest. Now the thing that, how do you know that you're actually doing this right, or what's your success criteria? Please be writing this down in your notes. You should have your notes notebook out, writing this down right now. The success criteria is to be able to identify, and the problems tell you. So this is a pretty simple step here, but to be able to identify what's called the principal, the rate, which is just a percent, and the time, which is always measured in years. So you might have to convert months to years on some problems. So first you identify, and then the second thing, I think I spelled principal wrong, there should be an AL. Second thing we're going to do is we're going to multiply. Multiply the principal, we use a P for the letter. So later on you're going to see a P, principal. R, we're going to use a rate. With rate, we're going to use the letter R. And it's always your percentage as a decimal. And then you're going to multiply that by your time. Go ahead and get that written down right now. Pause the video if you need to. Okay, so let's do some examples. You're going to see problems that are first just kind of laid out for you. So here's what some of the example problems that you're going to, or some of the problems you're going to see in your homework look like. You're going to see something that says, find the simple interest and it might look like this. 500, 7%, 2 years. So what does that mean? Interest is always used for either loans, so you're borrowing money, usually from the bank, or investments, which means you're putting your money into something, like the stock market, which is where it's used. So to use the formula that we actually have here, which you haven't seen yet, we're going to take these three things and we're going to multiply them and we're going to put them into our interest formula. So here's our example, but the first thing before that we want to look at is our interest formula, which you're going to use this today and tomorrow and we might even do this on Friday. The interest formula. It's a capital I, big I, equals P times R times T. Those are the three things we talked about earlier. The P is your principal, which is a starting amount. How much are you borrowing, or how much are you investing? The R is your percent, your rate, and the T is time. And like I said earlier, that's years. This is the most important thing that you need to know today. The interest formula is the most important thing. So looking at our example, find the simple interest, 500 times and 7% interest over 2 years. We're going to plug that into I equals PRT. Sometimes you'll see the multiplying when we're first starting out, but eventually we're going to take away our little dots for multiplying and just use PRT. We're going to multiply those. My answer is going to be equal to this first principal. That's like how much you borrowed. And that's $500 times by my percent as a decimal, 0.07, times by the time, which is 2. Now, once I multiply all those together, I'm going to get my answer. So punch that into your calculator, and what you're going to get is an answer of 70. And I'm going to double check my work. So you can see my calculator here, 500. I'm going to multiply it times 0.07 times 2. Great, my answer is 70. Well, there's an example. Here's the interest formula, but what in the world is this? Interest is kind of like a tax. Kind of. It's different than a tax, but it's similar in that this big I, this interest, and let's write this on your interest formula. The interest is an extra cost or an extra amount that you earn. So if you pay interest, like if you bought a house, there's interest on it and it's extra that you have to pay back to the bank. Or if it's interest on money you're putting into the stock market, it's actually money that you make, which is how retirement works. When you put money into the stock market, you can retire because your money makes money. Let's do 2 more examples, and then I'm going to let you guys start on your homework after that. So let's say you let's say you borrow. So you're taking a loan. Let me move my camera down a little bit. So let's say you take a loan for $2,500, and your interest rate is 6.9%, and you take your loan over 7 years. So you got it for a while. Principal times rate times time. The interest formula is going to help us out. So I equals principal times rate as a decimal, 0.069 times 7. And boom, we're done. We just got to punch that into our calculator and we'll get our answer. So 2,500 times 0.069 times 7 is your answer. So $1,207.50. This is all money. All of our answers are going to be money. Okay, so let's do one more. And let's do an investment. So this means I'm going to put money into something, into the stock market usually. Let's say that I invest, my principal is, we'll go with $720. Say the interest rate is maybe 6.75%. And let's say that my time is 18 months. Okay, so let's punch that into our interest formula. Interest equals principal, 720, times rate as a decimal, 0.0, move a decimal 2 times, 0.675, times time. But oh man, I can't put 18 down. Because if you look back here, my time is in years. So I have to convert 18 months to years. So how do you convert months to years? You divide by 12. Divide by 12. Why 12? Because there's 12 months in a year. So on this one, 18 divided by 12 gives me a year and a half, 1.5. So that's what I'm going to multiply. My 1.5 is going to go down in here. Okay, and then from there, boom, I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to go 720 times 0.0675. Move that down so you can see it. Times 1.5. And there you go, 72.9. or $72.90. There you go, guys. That's how you do and use the interest formula. Go ahead and get started on your homework after this.